Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Dominion, Nova Scotia. And happy Easter Sunday morning. You are watching the 2026 Nova Scotia Under-15 AA Provincial Hockey Championships here on High Button Sports. It's semifinal number one, the top-seeded host, Glace Bay Miners, taking on the Dartmouth Whalers, who squeezed in the final round-robin game last night in dramatic fashion, looking to keep the magic going here at the Provincials in Glace Bay. My name is Luke Diamond. Thank you for tuning in here on your holiday morning. 3 more games to go until we decide our Under-15 AA Provincial Champion here. There will be 2 semifinals here today. Starting off with the Miners and the Whalers, the Bedford Blues and the Halifax Hawks will go head-to-head after this one at a 10:30 puck drop. Everybody up bright and early, and this one, the stands are pretty full here. Maybe the Easter Bunny's gifts will have to wait until everybody is home from the hockey game. It's going to be a battle of some very entertaining scorers anyway on each of these teams. 3 of the tournament's top scorers playing in this game, led by Jonas Rhett of the Glace Bay Miners. His 5 goals and 11 points above everybody else here in the tournament, in the points column anyway. Cam Ward, the captain of the Dartmouth Whalers, has 5 goals of his own for the Dartmouth Whalers. Another 5-goal scorer in this tournament is Spencer Melski of the Miners. Melski and Surratt scored twin hat-tricks yesterday in their round-robin finale against the Cape Breton County Islanders. Ward had a big goal yesterday in that qualifying game for the Whalers, going head-to-head against the Pictou County Crushers, essentially for a place in this morning's semifinal game. But the hero of that one, Cohen Clouette, scores 2 goals in 11 seconds in the final minute of the third period to give the Dartmouth Whalers a 3-goal win in that game, which happened to be enough to meet the tiebreaker and jump both the Yarmouth Mariners and the Crushers in the standings, as the officials are having a quick discussion at the Whalers bench before we get going here. Teams waiting at each side of the ice before the game begins. As we have had in the round robin, there was a 15-minute period with a flood in between the second and the third frames. As we prepare to get underway in this one, the final will be at 2 o'clock this afternoon here at the Dominion Arena. A winner-go-home game, no bronze medal games, nothing extra here today in Glace Bay. As the teams prepare down in their own ends, we'll get going here in just a moment in Dominion. You're watching the U15 AA Provincial Championships on High Button Sports. And we're just about ready to go here in the provincial semifinal in Glace Bay. Both teams hanging out for extended periods of time in front of their nets, holding a bit of a standoff here, as I'm told by a few folks here in attendance at the game. The Miners and the Whalers, they've already played once this tournament. Glace Bay beating the Whalers in the round robin by an 8-1 score. But that does not matter anymore. Congregations representing both teams loud and proud here in the provincial semifinal. Winner go home for a chance at the gold medal game in Dominion. The Dartmouth Whalers in the white jerseys to your left. The host, Glace Bay Miners, in the black and red to your right. And here we go. It's semifinal Sunday. And right off the draw, a penalty and some chaos in the middle of the ice. A little bit of fireworks. 7 seconds into the hockey game. Oh my, these teams are into it to start this one as Cohen Clouette heads to the box for the Dartmouth Whalers right off the draw. And that might not be it. Cam Ward also jumping in for Dartmouth. There's going to be a discussion here at the scorekeeper's bench as we've had quite an entertaining start to this one. We're only 7 seconds in. We've had a proverbial standoff from both teams. And now some pushing and shoving right off the center ice draw. Gives you shades of that Canada-USA game at the Four Nations last year. We're not going to see any fisticuffs in this one, but that's probably as close as you're going to get when it comes to crowd entertainment. So the Dartmouth Whalers will go to the penalty box. So the Miners with a very early power play here in the semifinal. They win the draw and get set up from distance, and that is blockered away. Starting goalie for Dartmouth Whalers, Emmett Horton, has played 3 of 4 games in the round robin for the Whalers. In the other net today for Glace Bay, Zach Boutlier gets his third start of the provincials. And Horton will be put to the test here early as the Miners go to the power play. Brought in down low, trying to contain that was Drew McPhee. Graham holds the line back to McPhee. McPhee goes cross ice. He's going to find his teammate, Cam Ferguson, on the far side. Ferguson goes back up top to Graham, who's going to spin around and use those edges. Off the tape of Sasha Christie, and that'll jump into the corner. McPhee, another 1:08 to play here on the Glace Bay Miners power play that they got 7 seconds into the game. Collision in the middle of the ice. Graham walks in, has room, scores! What a goal! Blake Graham, and an early one in the semifinal for the Glace Bay Miners. And we know we're in for a barn burner. Why not start with an early goal? 1:07 into the hockey game. Blake Graham finds it back to the net. And the Miners are up 1. Off the center ice dot, back to 5-on-5 action. Very little 5-on-5 in this game so far. Still very early on, as it will be skated in the zone by Mason Reed, who's going to take a tumble on the far side. He's joined up there on the rush by Matthew Hutt, and brought the other way as numbers by the Whalers. 2-on-1, Norrie gets the puck in the center, scores! Back and forth we go. Oliver Norrie ties the game at 1. Talk about entertainment. Right back the other way, responding. Roughly 25 seconds after the Glace Bay goal, Norrie gets the Whalers on the scoreboard. And 1.5 minutes in, both teams have already found the back of the net. Tied at 1 here in the 1 versus 4 seed semifinal in this one. Halifax and Bedford are up after this, but there's a lot more entertainment to go between these two teams fighting for their playoff lives. Up with the puck for Glace Bay, that's Spencer Baxter at the point, going to go D to D, and played up by Majic, up to Cooper Zylstra. Zylstra has 3 goals in the tournament for the Miners. Tafabali is going to roll back. Reed, first man into the corner for the Glace Bay Miners, and the crowd gets loud here in Dominion. Both good crowds from both teams, whether from just a few minutes away in Glace Bay or all the way up on the 4-hour drive from Dartmouth to cheer on their team here this weekend, as it is retrieved by Jonas Surrett, the tournament's leading scorer, 5 goals and 11 points in 4 games. It's off the skater Rose. It's going to ricochet into the corner where Tremaine gives chase. It's going to exit the zone now where it's going to be thrown back into the zone by Isaiah Thompson. Way over his net to play is Zach Boutlier. Boutlier 2-0 in 2 starts so far in the tournament between the bikes for Glace Bay. As right off the bench, there's the goal scorer from the Miners. Blake Graham skipped into the corner in the direction of the goaltender Horton. And it'll come back up to center. Return to the corner. Cam Ferguson on the dumping attempt. Skipped up to his stick by Brayden Langille. Up for Cone Clouette. A big 2 goals yesterday for the Whalers. Does he have any more in the tank here in the semifinal? And a penalty behind the play. And this one looks to be going against Glace Bay on a trip. And the Dartmouth Whalers will get their first opportunity in the power play in this one. 11:34 into the game. Early goals from Blake Graham and Oliver Norrie have us tied at 1 here in this provincial semifinal in Dominion. Face-off will come to the left of Zach Boutlier. Tremaine in to take the draw for the top power play unit for the Whalers out there with Captain Cam Ward. Ward and Tremaine getting the puck battle. And some commotion in front of the net. Perhaps the net was dislodged. It looks like it. So we'll get a repeat of the face-off with only 4 seconds gone on the Whalers power play. Tremaine in to take the face-off again. He will square up against one of the penalty killers, Drew McPhee. And it's won by Tremaine and back to Thompson. Got around the stick of gold. Picked up by Tremaine. Oh, off the shoulder. Rebound. Far side. Chaos in front of the net. And again, off its moorings is dislodged as there's a Whaler lying in the goaltender's crease in front of Boutlier. As the officials try to figure out why the net is being knocked off so often. The draw will come on the opposite side of the ice now to the right of the Miners' goal. And into the slot area as the Miners will fish it out. And there's a player down in behind the play. On his knees. It's a Whalers player. As the whistle will go down in the corner. He'll get up to his feet, which is a good sign. Hope he's okay. But will be assisted to the bench by his teammates. Still another minute and 39 to go on the initial Whalers power play. As it's Colin Clouette skating to the bench. As mentioned, Clouette, a big reason why the Whalers are in this game here today. 2 big goals yesterday to get that goal differential. But he will take a rest here for a minute. And the face-off outside. As the Whalers power play continues, they'll win the draw back to Alexander Merrick. Merrick assisted on both of those goals yesterday for Dartmouth in that final minute. Tremaine will get things set up back to Thompson, exchanging with Tremaine. Hot potato between the two. Through a crowd, and finding that through the crowd. Find his Boutlier, who's going to take a bump after the whistle. And a pair of Whalers in there. As the Miners took exception to the Whalers getting a little too close to their goaltender. And the linesman will escort a couple of players off the ice. McPhee for the Miners will be one of them. Merrick as well will hop over the boards for Dartmouth. It looks like we'll remain at 5-on-3 hockey. As we will get a face-off still inside Glace Bay territory. Minute 23 to play here on the Dartmouth power play. Just under 11 to go in the first period. Down to take the face-off, Matthew Hutt for the penalty killers up against Tremaine. Rose will secure it along the boards and get it back to Thompson for Dartmouth. Tremaine, close side hash marks, leaves back for Isaiah Thompson. Going in and lane blocked by Hutt. Centering attempt by Tremaine. And Isaiah Thompson was a little closer. Some chaos going on in front of the net. The Miners getting another penalty here. And Tremaine looking for the centering pass. A Whaler going down. The arm is in the air from the back official. And a block off the backside of Hutt. And the play will be kept alive by Christie, or maybe not, as Matthew Hutt skated over the puck to touch up. So for 51 seconds here, the Dartmouth Whalers will go to a 2-man advantage Just about 5 minutes into this first period. Lots of entertainment so far here in this game. A very physical one here so far. As we saw right off the draw, 7 seconds in, some pushing and shoving. Almost after every whistle, we've had somebody take exception to something. It's going to be no different on that one, as another Miners player will head to the box, and the Whalers will get almost a minute of 5-on-3 power play time. A real good chance to take the lead here as Isaiah Thompson waits, leads for Cam Moore, the shot, looking high, Glovey at the spot pick, just went a little high, and it'll roll down the ice. Isaiah Thompson plays up the ward in the neutral zone. Flipped on a saucer to the far side and skated in by the Whalers. Crunched along the wall there with Sam Rose. Rose holding the line, although he lost his stick in the process. And Thompson tries to hustle, keep it in. He won't do it. He'll have to retreat to his line. 14 seconds before the first penalized Miner comes out of the box, but now a 2-on-1 materializes. Norrie, and he might have caught a piece of the post. There's that change direction near Boutlier. Held in the line by Ward. 3 seconds now. Knocked toward the net. Rolls in front of the goaltender as Tremaine takes a bump by Surratt in front of the net. As the first penalty will expire here for the Glace Bay Miners. Another minute and 9 to go though on the Dartmouth Whalers power play. Jumping out of the box, Matthew Hutt take the face-off against Kai Tremaine. First unit still out here for the Dartmouth Whalers as it is worked up the wall with authority and down the ice by the Miners. Emmett Horton will tee it up for his defenseman Isaiah Thompson. He's going to quarterback this power play for the Whalers. Left back for Tremaine, but he's pressured there by Melski. Spencer Melski coming off a hat trick in the round-robin finale. In that 7-4 win over the County Islanders, Ward will skate through the check. Cam Ward in the zone, 40 seconds on the power play and broken up. A tie-up in front of Boutlier's crease and shot down the ice. It will elude Thompson, who has to backtrack to his own blue line. Thompson off to his right and Tremaine looking for the entry. Tremaine the backhand dish over to Rose. At the top of the circle, and a stick shatters right up in the air, and some groans after that one. Nobody likes a broken stick, as Cam Ferguson will head to the bench and get his backup here in the semifinal. 22 seconds to go on the Dartmouth Whalers power play. They had a brief 5-on-3 that they couldn't convert on. The Glace Bay Miners have gotten in the form here on this penalty kill. The draw is won back by Glace Bay. Skating around the net, or attempting to anyways, Drew McPhee. And McPhee will root away at it. And Braden Langill will take it back at the tail end of the power play for Dartmouth. Murchison will pick it up at the blue line. Leads down low for Tremaine. Looking for the centering pass option. There's a pair of Whalers there. In front, Rose missed the net. And we return to 5-on-5 action. A couple of big penalty kills for the Glace Bay Miners, and a huge hit thrown there by Miles Majic. Majic forces the turnover only for a second as Murchison gets back up. He'll blow a tire at the Glace Bay blue line, and both teams will get some changes in. 8:05 to go in the first period. Still tied at 1 here with 2 goals in the game's first minute 32. Into the glove and Ella Horton. Second attempt on the rebound as the Miners get some offense going. Lupin up and looking at his chances, and McPhee gloved again. Hand-eye attempt there by Jonas Surratt. That close to goal number 6 on the tournament. The shot will be fought aside and rimmed back down in the corner as the top line for the Miners gets to work. In front of the net is Cooper Zylstra, and a big hit in behind the goal is McPhee. McPhee will skate out of pressure on the cycle here for the Miners. Langill will strip it though, and he will opt to send it down the length of the ice for an icing, but a penalty is coming up in behind the play, and this one might as well be coming to the Miners. We will see it's an interference call, and Jonas Surratt will head to the box. Midway through the first period, tied at 1 here on High Button Sports. So for the third consecutive time, the Glace Bay Miners will head to the penalty box. So another power play opportunity here for the Whalers. on which they have had lots of time here so far, midway through the first period. The face-off came outside of the Miners zone rather than typically inside. And Glace Bay is able to shoot it down to Dartmouth territory and take him back the other way. Cam Ward on the zone entry for the Whalers. Langill bobbled it. Is going to prevent the dump out though. Going in one-on-one against Cam Ferguson. Chipped up the wall and held on the line by Isaiah Thompson. Thompson, the shot! Rebound came right out to Tremaine. He couldn't get the shot off as Melski was there. Cam Ward on the backhand, so he can't pull off the shot. Thompson will, and that's blocked away there. A nice save by Boutlier. Boutlier rims that over to Ferguson, who is able to clear the zone off the tape of Thompson and down the ice. 1:17 to go here on this latest Whalers power play. Isaiah Thompson has to backtrack. Trailed there to his right flank by Tremaine and up the middle. It's a one-on-one battle over the face-off dot at center ice and sent down the length of the ice there, and a good clear by Colby Kaiser. Kaiser, the lead forward checker, in on the penalty kill as Tremaine dishes it up to Alexander Merrick coming through center. Merrick lets the shot go, bobbles away from Boutlier, who made the save. Right place at the right time was the defenseman Reed, who will clear it out of danger. Thompson through a crowd, and a beautiful tip there by Merrick in front of the net, who had a couple of real good chances to score that time, as it is clogged up in the neutral zone, and a hit in behind the play by Ward. And a penalty be coming up to the Dartmouth Whalers there, as Kaiser was taken down after the play on a late hit. So for 30 seconds, we'll get 4-on-4 action, and then the Miners will go to a power play for 1.5 minutes. Just under 6 to go here in the period. Blake Graham opened the scoring for Glace Bay. Oliver Norrie responded about 25 seconds later for the Whalers. To round out the scoring here thus far in semifinal number 1 here in Glace Bay. It's a tie-up off the face-off. Chasing it down in the corner is Zylstra, who will win it back for his teammate Matthew Hutt. Hutt trying to cut to the slot area. Over to Miles Majic, top of the circle. That shot will whistle wide under pressure from Clouette. Chipped up and out by the Whalers to the red line. Hutt in pursuit, goes D to Majic. Secures the dump in, 9 seconds left in this 4-on-4 stint of play. And then the Miners will be joined by a 5th skater, just as the Whalers ice the puck here with 5.5 to go. So the draw will come back down to the close side to the right of Emmett Horton. Matthew Hutt prepares to take the draw. In 1 second, the Glace Bay Miners will begin a power play. Will be their second power play opportunity of the game. They scored on their first, and a shot from distance in the Majic is caught by Horton. And now the Miners will get all 5 players out here for the next 1:28. Off the draw, Sasha Christie in to take the face-off off the penalty kill for the Whalers, going up against Hutt. It's a tie-up, and Hutt will win that cleanly back to Majic. The Miners get set up on the man advantage. Going D to D, returns it to Majic on the close side. Zylstra, centered for Hutt, and that is blocked away. A nice save made by Emmett Horton. Majic holds the line, tipped it up to Hutt, and it'll be sent out on the second attempt by Thompson down the ice. Another 1:02 to go on the power play. All of the Whalers penalty killers will change up as Matthew Hutt will lead it up the ice. Mahoney breathing down his neck on the back check through the neutral zone. Hutt is rubbed off the puck there and swung up the ice by Merrick. Good job to hold the line though by Mason Reed playing the far side point. Reed takes the pass. Thought about the shot. Will instead leave it off for McPhee. And Hutt and Reed will trade passes. Hutt lets the shot go from distance. That is high and wide of the net. Reed holds it in. Goes to Majic at the close side hash marks from a tight angle. Emmett Horton shuts the door again. It's going to elude Hutt, but is picked up by Reed on the far side. 18 seconds to go on the power play for Glace Bay. Reed through traffic off a skate in front and some jamming in front of the net and pushing, shoving afterwards as Emmett Horton jumped out to cover the puck for a whistle. 12 seconds now left on the power play. Both teams will complete most of their changes, with the draw coming to the right of the goaltender. Jonas Rett now out on the ice to take the draw for the power play unit. One to the left where McPhee was waiting. The goal scorer for Glace Bay, Graham, lets the shot go into the glove of Horton for another save, and we'll redo the face-off. Just under 4 to go here in the period. And 4 seconds on the penalty. Taking the draw for the Whalers is Rose. He's going to lose it again to Surratt. McPhee to the top of the circle. Awesome shin pads. Rebound bounces out. And covered by Horton. And a jam in front of the net as Emmett Horton has had to be sharp here in the last 30 seconds or so for the Whalers, who kill off the Glace Bay penalty, and we're still tied at 1 here with 4 to go in the first. The Jonas Surratt line still out there for Glace Bay as we return to 5-on-5. The top line out there as well for Dartmouth as Cam Ward will skip it up to Colin Clouette at center ice. Joined up there by Sasha Christie to his left. It's going to be airmailed into the trapper of Bootlier. No trouble making that save, and we'll get a face-off to his glove side. Both teams will get some changes in. 3 games today, as mentioned. This first semi-final, the winner of this game will play the winner of the Halifax Hawks and the Bedford Blues coming up at 10:30 in the championship game at 2. Battle in the corner behind the Glace Bay net, and the Whalers will get established. Murchison from the point, nice block there by Jonas Surratt, and that'll be knocked off to the side. Surratt speeding up for the breakout pass as we get a logjam in center ice. A pair of players down and behind the play as Baxter and Christie got tied up. Now the Whalers will have the play develop in their zone as the Miners look to get a scoring chance in. Surratt has time and space in behind the net, will curl out to the hash marks. Baxter bobbled the puck, and now the Whalers will break through with it as Rose turned on the Jets. He scored a goal like that yesterday here for Dartmouth, and McPhee lets it go. That's whistled high and wide of the net. A hard snapper there from number 9 in the Glace Bay uniform. And now a chance up the other way for the Whalers. Rose wheels, centering pass picked up by the defenseman, Ben Murchison, and that is gloved up and covered by Zach Bootlier. Now 2.5 to go in the first. Three of the 4 top scorers in the tournament in this game. Jonas Surratt, 11 points. Matthew Hutt, 7 points. And Cam Ward, 7 points. Not to mention all the top 3 goal scorers in the game, in the tournament, are playing in this game. Jonas Surratt has 5, as does Cam Ward of the Whalers. And not to mention Spencer Milski, who has 5 goals and assists in this tournament. As a strip by Rose, he'll break into the zone. Pursued there closely by Gold. Poked away though by Tremaine. And Matthew Hutt goes skating up the other way. He's in 1-on-2. Curls off to the wide side and cuts in. Maybe a chance. Tied up by Merrick and draws a penalty. So the Miners will go back to the power play here before the end of the first. And Hutt will elect to exit the zone. Leaving off for Surratt. The extra attacker is out there as Bootlier went to the bench for Glace Bay. And now it's carried into the zone by Surratt. Tight angle. Maybe the wrap attempt. He'll dance along the perimeter here for the Miners. Sends the pass on the far side. And a collision in front of the net as a Glace Bay Miner collapses to the ice. He took a shove from Merrick of the Whalers. The whistle went while Glace Bay still had possession, so not sure if that's going to mean another penalty will be assessed. We'll see what the call is here. There's going to be at least one Dartmouth Whalers power play. Penalty on it, resulting in a Glace Bay power play by the looks of things. Alexander Merrick in the box for 2 minutes or less on a hooking minor for Dartmouth. So it's 1:43 to go in the period. It is Glace Bay on their 3rd power play opportunity of the period. They win the draw over to Matthew Hutt in the far side, and that's blocked. Good leg placement there by the defender Isaiah Thompson. Played back between Reed and Hutt. Second attempt for Hutt. Scores! Matthew Hutt to return the lead for Glace Bay. Power play goal. It's 2-1. Fourth of the tournament and 8th point for the captain. Matthew Hutt goes high glove on Emmett Horton. And Glace Bay back in the driver's seat late in the first. And Hutt will remain out there, taking the face-off. Now back to 5-on-5 in the power play goal, going up against Braden Langill. And Hutt will take it in again. Now numbers for the Miners. Hutt curls to the wide side, and the shot gloved away as Emmett Horton fought it off the second time around, preventing Hutt from 2 succession goals. And chipping away in front of the net, Spencer Melski. Doesn't he have a nose for the net? He scores a lot from that net front area. And comes through Hutt. Individual effort, scores! What a goal by Hutt! Unbelievable stuff! And the Miners are up by 2. And the captain for the Miners is taking over here late in the first period. 2 goals on the same shift here with a minute to go in the first period. And bang bang, the Miners are up by 2. The draw is won back by Graham. And now Drew McPhee will take it around the net. Pursued there closely by Colin Clouette. Top line jumps out for the Whalers. Going for a quick response. Held at the line by Murchison. Blocked there into the shin pads of Surratt. Play continues down in the corner. Worked up to Murchison. He's going to return that down to the close side where Clouette is weighing along the boards. In behind the goal for Christie. Centering pass. He was eyeing up Ward. Ward lets the shot go. Blocked in front. Rebound out to Merrick. Through traffic. And Surratt. He has not been afraid to block the shot this game here as he is at the receiving end of a hit behind the play there from Ward as the play continues down into the Whalers zone. 13 seconds to go here in the period. This is worked up the ball by Clouette and retrieved by Cam Ferguson in the Glace Bay zone. At the tail end of the period, 2 quick goals from the captain, Matthew Hutt for Glace Bay, is the difference so far after 15 minutes as the Miners lead by a 3-1 score after 15 minutes of play here at the Dominion Arena. You're watching the 2026 Nova Scotia Under 15 Provincial Hockey Championships here on High Button Sports. We'll be back in just a moment for the second period. And welcome back to High Button Sports here for the second period. Semi-final 1 of the U15 AA Provincial Hockey Championships. After 15 minutes of play, the Glace Bay Miners up by a 3-1 score. Blake Graham and Matthew Hutt, who had 2, scoring for the Miners. Dartmouth Whalers respond with a goal from Norrie as the crowd is loud and proud here on this Easter Sunday. It could be Christmas morning, and it would be just as entertaining as a game. And it was a very good first 15 minutes of this one in terms of the entertainment factor. Lots of physicality, lots of scoring thus far, and a lot more to go here as we enter the middle frame. It'll roll down the length of the ice here on Zach Boutlier, who will cover it up and opt for the whistle. The Miners, to make it into this game, they're the top seed in the tournament. We're 4-0 in the round robin here on home ice. Opened their tournament with a 5-3 win over Yarmouth. They beat the Whalers in Game 2 by an 8-1 score. They beat the Crushers from Pictou County 6-1. Closed out the round robin with a win over Cape Breton rivals, the County Islanders, 7-4. As it's carried into the zone by Matthew Hutt. Just shot. He's on hat-trick watch now, already with 2 goals in the game. You two on the same shift toward the end of the period. Sasha Christie might have a chance here. Slapping as Christie toward the net and tied up. Picked up on the rebound attempt and thrown toward Boutlier. What is the call? It's a hook. Perhaps an argument there for a penalty shot. That's not going to be the case. But nonetheless, the Whalers will get a power play from that as Sasha Christie gets a hustle on. And Christie is still on one knee in front of the Miners' net. He was banged up there a little bit, contending for puck possession against Bertram Gold of the Glace Bay Miners. And Gold will go to the penalty box there on a hooking minor. The Dartmouth Whalers had a bit more of an interesting path to today's semifinal game. They lost two of their first three matchups. They lost to Bedford in their tournament opener 6-4. Tied the Halifax Hawks by a 4-4 score on Friday morning. Lost to Glace Bay 8-1, but won their final round robin game over Pictou County in dramatic fashion 4-1 yesterday. And with that 3-goal spread, it was enough to win the tiebreaker as it's picked up by Merrick, letting the ripper go into the glove of Boutlier, who was battling some traffic in the Glace Bay crease. So the Dartmouth power play gets going here again. They've had 4 opportunities. This is opportunity number 4 in the game. Still yet to convert on the man advantage. As it'll roll in front of the goal, Merrick was battling away there, and Tremaine will get it back to the point. Isaiah Thompson looks at his options, goes down to Tremaine at the far side hash marks. Thompson, top of the zone. It's underneath the goaltender Boutlier and covered up as the referee will blow the play dead. Face-off will come to the left of Boutlier as some of the penalty killers will change up in the long change second period. For the Miners, Drew McPhee taking the face-off. For the penalty killers, it's won instead by Kai Tremaine for the Whalers. So Dartmouth will get set up and comfortable here on the power play. Thompson, shot through traffic. Ward from the tight angle was looking high, blocker on Boutlier, but misses his mark, and it'll roll back around to the Dartmouth blue line. Minute and 4 to go on the Whalers power play. 4th man advantage opportunity of the game. Still in the first half of this game, relatively early. Isaiah Thompson will start up again, quarterback in this Whaler power play. Off the stick of a Miners penalty killer, and Cam Ward will fork it up for Merrick. Lost in his feet and backhanded out of the zone by Melski. The Miners will try to get a quick change in here, as Isaiah Thompson will take his time in behind the net. We've seen this power play unit hard at work a lot here for the Whalers, especially with Thompson out there on the ice with them. Also defenseman Alexander Merrick playing a lot of net front time there. He's one of the taller players on this Dartmouth Whalers team, and he's been effective at it as Ward shoots, bounces out of the glove of Boutlier, and he'll have to dive out after the play, and some extracurricular activity after that, as a couple of pushes and shoves exchanged by the teams in front of Boutlier's net. As we'll get the whistle, only 8 seconds to go on the Whalers power play, with 12 and a half to go in the second period. Draw will come to the right of Boutlier. Braden Langill taking the face-off at the tail end of the Whalers power play, and a nice play up the ice as Jonas Rett clears it down 200 feet. Ben Murchison will receive the pass from his goalie. There's a glove lying out there for the Glace Bay Miners. One of the players reached out of the bench with his stick and fished it back onto the bench to get it out of the way of play. And just as the Miners bench was doing that, the puck is shot into their bench by a teammate. And now some pushing and shoving in behind the play as Kaiser of the Miners is caught up there with the Whalers player. Might result in coincidental Miners. The linesmen are going to escort them to the box. The other man is Ben Murchison of the Whalers. And I think the call will technically be head contact against each of the players, according to the signal from the referee. But play will remain at 5-on-5. The face-off coming down in the Dartmouth zone. Glace Bay still leading by 2 here in the first period. 2 go-ahead goals by Matthew Hutt as the Miners win the face-off. And it's Hutt right back out there, charging to the net front. And a centering pass attempt intended for Duncan McKinnon, who is waiting at the top of the goal mouth. McKinnon will pick it up, going up against Clouette in a puck battle in the corner. Clouette will flick that up into the air, and it'll fly over the glass. And out of play here at the Dominion Arena, in an interesting setting for these provincial championships. A smaller rink, so the game is really sped up here this weekend, with less space and the mistakes being that much more amplified when there's not much more room to go. And the glass being shorter than the typical rink. Not as many options for players to clear it out of the zone under pressure if you risk easily shooting it up and over the glass. So that has made for some more entertaining hockey here this weekend in Dominion. McKinnon will keep it in the zone. Down in the corner for Jonathan McLean of the Miners. Matthew Hutt was waiting out front as a 2-on-2 rugby scrum had formed. Down in the corner. And another puck will be airlifted into the Miners bench, who in the last minute or so have gotten 3 different pucks fly into the players bench. So the coaches having to keep their heads on a swivel there and behind the players. 11:23 to go here in the first period. Another draw to the right of Emmett Horton. Jonas Rhett in to take the draw in the O-zone. Lost it to Tremaine, but there's some bouncing off it, and Surratt will come up with it. The shot scores! Jonas Surratt, goal number 6 of the tournament. And the tournament's leading scorer will increase the Glace Bay lead to 3. Goal number 6 of the provincials. Point number 12. And Jonas Surratt solidifying his case for tournament MVP as he finds the back of the net again against Dartmouth. And the Miners will extend their lead to a trio of goals here early in the second frame. Surratt has that bounce away. He almost walked in all alone. It was bounced up the other way at the last second. Surratt in pursuit as it'll bounce down in the other direction. Rose giving chase for the Dartmouth Whalers. Zylstra will attempt to clear it out on the backhand spinorama. Held in the first time here by the Whalers, and punching up through pressure were the Miners as Spencer Baxter will take it in. Baxter is pushed off the puck there by the defenseman Thompson, and now Spencer Melski chasing off the other way. Reed thrown down into the corner. Zylstra thinking about taking it in front. Will leave it on a drop. Centered in front. And is stopped wide of the net. Pushed up to the wall. Reed. Return pass to the corner where Melski will fight in one-on-one. A pair of Whalers going after him along the close side hash marks. Reed holds it in the corner. Some back and forth here between these two Glace Bay Miners. Melski. Surratt tried to help there a little bit, but it got away. And it is fluttered into the corner by Vinner McQueen of the Whalers, who is at the end of a long shift. 5 minutes into the first period, just moments ago, Jonas Surratt again finds the back of the net for the Miners here this weekend. And he will extend the lead to 4-1. Langill, one-timer pass attempt. He didn't let it go, but the second one is just up and over the net as Oliver Norrie was contending for his second goal of the game, and he had a bit of a late poke there, so the Glace Bay Miners players will take exception to that. 4-1 the score for Glace Bay here in the second period. You're watching High Button Sports. Face off to the left of Zach Bootlier. Matthew Hutt wins the draw clean in the D zone. Sent up the ice with authority, and will that miss the net? Yes, it will. So it'll be a repeat of the face-off down in the Miners' end of the ice. Glace Bay this year, first in the Cape Breton Conference. A 15-7-5 record, good for 35 points. Going up against the Whalers, who had a 13-8-3 record for 29 points. in the Central Minor Hockey League Conference of the Nova Scotia province. That was good for 5th in their league. The 2nd and 3rd place teams in that league, Halifax and Bedford, will play in the second semifinal coming up at 10:30 here on High Button. But still yet to decide a winner in this one, but the Miners are trying to pull away here in the second period. Still a lot of hockey to play here though, still 9:10 to go in the second period as Glace Bay sends it down the ice on an icing. And the face-off will come toward the doors to enter the rink here at the Dominion Arena. Been a fantastic weekend working here. The hospitality has been incredible. You can always bet on Cape Breton hospitality, and it has come out big here this weekend in Dominion to all the tournament organizers and volunteers and arena staff making this happen here this weekend. It has been a treat, and not to mention some great hockey to go along with it, as it's been a very competitive tournament. Clouette was a step over the line offside, so he had to backtrack. Going up there in a puck battle as Majic is desperately trying to clear the zone, and that is sent in the direction of the net by a Whaler. It's going to go wide. Duncan McKinnon is going to be pressured there closely by a pair of Whalers. He'll bounce in front to Clouette. Clouette through some traffic, hits Christie in front of the net. Centered, Ward scores! A big one! Cam Ward! That's going to be his 6th of the tournament, and that'll cut the lead to 2. It's Captain Clutch for the Dartmouth Whalers. Goal number 6 of the provincial championships for Cam Ward. He has a knack for scoring big goals, and the Whalers needed one here in the second period, and they got it to cut the deficit in half. Now a 4-2 game. Tremaine lines up at center ice going up against Matthew Hutt. The Whalers win the face-off. Rung up off the glass, although on the wrong side of center ice, so the draw will come back to Dartmouth territory. Approaching the midway point of regulation here in the semifinal. Glace Bay has found the back of the net 4 times, and just a moment ago the Whalers, Cam Ward with another big one, takes a nice dish out front by Sasha Christie to make it 4-2. And the Whalers are not a team that goes away easy. They showed it here all tournament. As we saw yesterday, they fight right to the end. So a lot of battle left here in this 4-seed team here at the provincial championships as they'll chase the puck down into their zone. McQueen gives away. Hutt! Oh, what a shoulder save. A huge one for Emmett Horton, denying Hutt of the hat trick here in Glace Bay. Hutt will get it back though. He gets another chance, lets it go in front to Melski. He'll tap that wide, rimming around the wide side, out with Jonas Surrett on this line. Leaves it up for Hutt, back to the defense. Cam Ferguson holds the line. Over the Hutt, lets the snapper go, and it's gobbled up by Emmett Horton with 7:39 to go here in the second period.
5-7-7, 4-7-3. 5-7-7, 4-7-3.
Draw will come to the right of Horton with 7:39 now on the clock in the second. Glace Bay still up by 2. They're pushing to restore their 3-goal advantage. According to the referee, there is a violation on the Dartmouth side of the face-off. So Emmett Mahoney will have to step in the circle to take it against Hutt. Hutt will win it cleanly. Back to the line. Ferguson trying to let the wrister go through the crowd. That was Baxter actually from the point, but the puck will go wide. Hutt rubbed out along the boards. Thompson will get in there in the battle. It's a 2-on-2 wrestling match over in the corner. Mahoney roots that out though for the Whalers, but they don't get it across the line as Reed is tied up and he goes down. No call off the play. It'll go to the far side blue line and sent back into the zone where the Whalers defenseman's trying to shimmy shake the pressure from Melski, and Melski forces the turnover. The Miners trying to get things going in the corner. Melski was still on the ice. He's picking up his glove and bringing it in is Matthew Hutt. Hutt in close quarters is steered off to the side by the defenseman. Reed back to the line will go D to D. Now Spencer Baxter has it taken away and numbers up through the crowd. Morey is knocked off the puck there. Oliver Norrie already has a goal in this game. Almost sent there on the breakaway as Braden Langill had to get back for the Whalers as tired players out there for both teams on a hard-fought shift. 6:31 to go here in the second period. Glace Bay up by 2 in the provincial semifinal on High Button Sports. Face off to the right of Zach Boutlier in the Glace Bay zone. It's going to be won by the defending team. First clearing attempt by Majic, he fanned on. Second attempt off a Whaler shin pad. The shot from the perimeter whistles wide of the net. Cam Moore has his latest goal in this hockey game. He scored to make it 4-2. And Clouette steals it close. Alert blocker save by Boutlier. A huge one in tight. Murchison second attempt and the tip. Chaos front of the net. Scores! Sasha Christie cuts the lead to 1 for Dartmouth. All three Whalers on top of that cage, and Christie comes out of the crowd and pokes it into the open goal on the backhand. And Dartmouth cuts the lead back to 1. That top line for the Whalers, Sasha Christie, Cam Ward, and Cohen Clouette on a mission not only all weekend here for the Dartmouth Whalers, but especially in this hockey game as Tremaine is laid out at center ice by Kaiser on a hit. And McPhee takes it back the other way for the Miners as it's now a one-goal game here in the second period. These teams, they flail for the dramatic all weekend, especially Dartmouth, who is not going away here in the middle of the game against the top-seeded Miners, the tournament host. And the Whalers will take it into the zone. Rose giving chase. He's pinned up along the wall by a trio of Miners as Majic has to escape in behind his goal. Skating up through the middle now, that's Bertram Gold. Wide side pass to McPhee, who enters the end. Gold will pitch as the defenseman and takes a tumble as he went to throw the hit on a Whaler. Sent down the length of the ice by the Dartmouth Whalers. And some commotion in behind the play as Gold will throw a shove here on the Dartmouth Whalers. Ben Murchison. Murchison has been stirring things up all game long here for the Whalers, trying to get them a spark. Although Murchison did look a little shaken off coming off the ice. So hope he's okay and wasn't hurt too bad. But a lot of commotion going on here, and the referees are going to convene at center ice to decide their next course of action. Possibly a penalty coming up. We'll see what the call will be. There is a Glace Bay player in the penalty box, as Bertram Gold is listed on the board for a 2-minute penalty. They're going to give an explanation to the Miners bench as the crowd continues to be really loud and passionate here this weekend in Dominion. We've had some great fans come out all weekend long, especially from these two teams. Of course, from the Miners as the host club here in Glace Bay. And some good traveling contingencies, and Dartmouth has been no exception either as they've been cheering loud in this one. 5:13 to go in the second. Sasha Christie, just a minute ago, found the back of the net for the Whalers. They've scored 2 unanswered here in the second and find themselves down by 1. And now an excellent chance for the Whalers to tie the game. It's a double Miner charge to Bertram Gold. Individual effort. Scores! Cam Ford, second of the game, ties the game at 4. And I used the term Captain Clutch a few minutes ago. Well, how about that one for the Dartmouth captain? Second of the game, a tournament leading 7th goal. And it will tie the game up at 4 here in Dominion. And the Whalers will remain on the power play. Remember, that was a double minor charge to Bertram Gold of the Miners. So a brand new hockey game here late in the second period. The Whalers raise a 3-goal deficit as McPhee and Merrick get tied up in behind the play. McPhee was pleading for a tie. 4.5 now to go here in the second period. The Whalers have really tilted the ice back here in this second period, looking to take down a Glace Bay team to, until this point in the tournament, has been far and away dominating everybody. An undefeated record in the provincials heading into this one as Tremaine cuts in, and Boulier barely holds it on the short side attempt from the Dartmouth centerman. The Whalers will keep it in, will surround the penalty killer and take back possession. Tremaine below the line, lays up the Ward, now on hat-trick watch. Toe drag and glove by Boulier with a huge save for the Miners on the penalty kill. 3:47 to go in the period, and 50 seconds left to go on the Dartmouth Whalers power play. It was a double minor power play, but Cam Ward scored on the first half of that to tie the game up at 4 apiece. Taken by Tremaine and Lomac, just missed the net. Rebound on a rough try. It's still loose on the close side. Tremaine opposite side slaps just wide of the net again. 3 excellent opportunities for the Whalers, who almost took their first lead of the hockey game, but it will go wide and will be sent down the ice by the Miners. Tremaine, 24 seconds to go on the power play. 3 1/4 in the period as it's left off for Thompson and up the middle of the ice and carried in by Teddy Scott. Scott will wheel around, leads for Thompson. Long wrist distance shot. Knocked aside. We haven't seen a lot of Scott yet in this game. He was knocked out of the game yesterday after a big hit hurt, but he is in the lineup here right now, out playing on the power play here for the Whalers. So it's a good sign to see him back in action here for Dartmouth. Scott jumps across the line, and it's stripped by Langill. Cuts in, takes a huge hit by Majic. And Langill is still down on the play. Took a huge hit as he is cutting in toward the net on Glace Bay. And Langill is still down for the Whalers. The trainer will have to come out to have a look at him with 2:33 to go here in the second period. So Langill will get looked at. We'll step aside for just a moment here. Tie game on High Button Sports. And welcome back to High Button Sports. Brayden Langill was at the receiving end of a big hit from Miles Majic of the Miners. Langill is helped off the ice, and Majic has just been escorted to the dressing room by the officials. 5 minutes showing on the board here against the Glace Bay Miners. So a possible 5-minute major in a game misconduct charge to Glace Bay on that hit. That hurt Langill. Langill now going to the room for Dartmouth. Going to be helped off the ice on the other side. So just as the Miners killed off that first penalty, the Whalers will now go on a 5-minute power play as Majic is gone from the game. Scott on the pass, takes one, and Hutt with a big block. The rebound in behind the net. Merrick in front. Ward jamming at it. Rebound skips wide of the glove side of Boutlier, who has come up with a few big saves after that last Dartmouth goal to keep it tied at 4. On the backhand, Matthew Hutt up and out of the zone. Takes a check there from his captain, counterpart by Ward, and a penalty behind the play. Interference is the call, and they're going to call it on Ward for that hit on Matthew Hutt. Ward is irate about that one. He's going to plead his case with the referee there, but nonetheless will go to the box. So with 2:07 left in the period, we're going to have a full 2 minutes here of 4-on-4 hockey between these teams. As we have really seen a lot of fireworks so far in this hockey game. 8 goals in the first 2 periods and counting. Lots of penalties as well by both teams, including Miles Majic just being ejected from the game from Glace Bay. But the Whalers take a penalty as it was lost in front of the net by Jonas Surratt, and the net is dislodged on the action in a round. That net has gone off several times in this game. Surratt didn't seem too pleased that is what happened. Perhaps he took a shove and ran into it, but that'll be fixed up. And now it says up here on the board that Cam Ward is in the box for 4 minutes. The initial call was interference. So we're going to have 3 minutes and 40 seconds of 4-on-4 hockey. Pending any more penalties, that'll carry into the new period. And it'll also negate all but 40 seconds of what would have been a 5-minute major power play for the Whalers. So a little more open ice here for these teams. Jonas Surratt is going to hit the snow in front of the Whalers bench. The ice is pretty choppy here now at the Dominion Arena. We've been seeing that this weekend. Gets really snowy in the latter half of the second period. Surratt from a tight angle turned aside by Emmett Horton, who's had a relatively quiet period. As on the chip out of play attempt, Scott will fire that into the Glace Bay bench and out of play. Minute 11 now on the clock. Face-off coming down to the corner. The Dartmouth Whalers have scored 3 straight to come back from a 4-1 deficit to tie this semi-final game at 4 against the Glace Bay Miners. 2 of those goals come from Cam Ward. Christie with the other. Some pushing and shoving off the draw as Sam Rose and Matthew Hutt were exchanging some words. And the commotion will result in Rose getting ejected from the draw. So Alexander Merrick, the defenseman, now in to take it for Dartmouth. Hutt off the draw, tries to power through Merrick, but he'll tie him up. Stripped by Hutt in close, and he tried to wheel in on the backhand, looking for goal number 3 on the game. The captain from each of these teams has 2 goals, as Cam Ward has 2 as well. It's brought down to Spencer Melski, one of the leading goal scorers in the tournament. He has 5 on the weekend. Sent up for Rose on the breakout pass. He was tied up at center ice. 43 seconds to go here in the second as Ferguson carried it in for Glace Bay. Hutt will support him in behind and will take the centering pass. Tried to poke it through the feet of Thompson, but he will steer that to the corner. Rose now pushing up against Ferguson, or Melski rather, who's caught up in the corner. And Merrick will dump it in deep. Bootlier tees it up in behind the net for his defenseman Mason Reed. Takes some pressure in behind the net by some fresh legs. Clouette out there right off the bench for the Whalers. 12 seconds in the period. Up the wall for Hutt. And escapes some pressure. Thrown in behind the net for Cam Ferguson, who will stop up again. Takes a bump from Rose. But time will expire here in the second period. After 2 minutes of play, the Dartmouth Whalers will pull even and tie the game at 4 in what has been a back and forth barn burner of a semi-final so far here in Dominion. Glace Bay 4, Dartmouth 4, with 1 more period of regulation to play here at the 2026 Nova Scotia Under-15 Provincial Hockey Championships here on High Button Sports. We'll return in about 10 minutes or so for the third period. And welcome back. You are watching the 2026 Nova Scotia Under 15 AA Provincial Hockey Championships here on High Button Sports in Dominion, Nova Scotia. Happy Easter Sunday to you. And an extra little gift from the Easter Bunny. A very entertaining semi-final game. The Miners were up 4-1 in the second period. The Whalers score 3 times and even it up. So a brand new game to get things started here in the third period. Only one of these teams will come out and make it into the provincial final. Glace Bay as the host team, or will it be the underdog Whalers who will punch their ticket to the gold medal game? 15 minutes, maybe more, will decide that as we get underway here in the third frame. The Whalers in the yellow and white to your left, and the Miners in the black and red to the right side of your screen as we get underway here in the third period. Chipped up the wall by Merrick. Good hand-eye coordination by Cluett with the stick. Setting up for Teddy Scott. He was a step ahead of the play and has to touch up to avoid the offside. Picked up by Glace Bay the other way. Good stick placement though by Scott as it's sent up the wall. We're playing 4-on-4 hockey here for the next minute and 24 seconds. There was a 5-minute major assigned to the Glace Bay Miners as Miles Majic was ejected from the game toward the end of the second period on a hit on Braden Langille. But then Cam Ward was sent off for a double minor penalty for the Whalers on an interference call. And he might have picked up an extra 2 there for exchanging words with the ref. I can't confirm that, but either way, for the next minute and 15 seconds as a result, we'll play a 4-on-4 hockey. And then for about 40 seconds, the Whalers will go to the power play at the very tail end of that major. As Ferguson shoots, he had a wide open look on Emmett Horton, and Horton will scoop it up. Calm and collected in between the Whalers' pipes. Horton has been rock steady since that fourth Glace Bay goal very early on in the second period. 14:09 to go in the period. We're only about 50 seconds or so into the new frame. Matthew Hutt has a pair of goals, goes into the face-off, but is won in the D zone by Kai Tremaine. And a bounce out to center ice. Here comes Sam Rosen one-on-one. It is steered to the side by Blake Graham. Rose tried to spin that back to Tremaine, who was trailing the play. Worked it up to Rose on the flick, but scooped up by Matthew Hutt, and he will hop on his horse up through center. Hutt in 2-on-2. Wheels to the side. Backhand! And covered underneath Emmett Horton, who will deny the Miners captain of a near goal there that would have restored their lead. Draw will now come to the left of Horton. Another 36 seconds of 4-on-4 play. So you can see a lot more open ice out there in the small ice of the Dominion Arena as we get some chaos, and Surratt jamming away at it in the low slot area in the Whalers zone. It's going to roll wide of the cage. And Cluett trying to fish that through for the Whalers. Held at the line by Baxter in the feet of McPhee. Baxter holds it the second time around. Hanging off his back is Scott. Surratt tried to join the play, but will knock it away. And Cluett is up with speed. Surrounded by a triangle of Glace Bay Miners. It's thrown up around the corner. Scott looking to fork that into the center of the ice, but mishandles it. Scott will retain possession at center ice just as Cam Ward, the captain, jumps out of the box. So 30 seconds here of Dartmouth Whalers power play time. It's not a lot of time. Serving the penalty for Glace Bay is not exactly clear as Majic's number is up on the board here in Dominion. But Thompson will settle it down here in the Miners zone. 14 seconds. Back door! And Ward thought about the shot, looking for goal number 3. Tip attempt in front. He was all alone, found there on a seeing eye pass from Teddy Scott. Now Thompson hangs out at the line. Shot from distance. And good vision there by Zach Boutlier, who will slide across at the end of the Whalers power play. So we're back to 5-on-5 action here. Both teams ready to run and gun in this third frame. The draw will come to the left of Boutlier. Hutt in to take the face-off against Braden Langille. Langille had to leave the game late in the second period after taking that hit from Majic. It's good to see him back out on the ice here for the Whalers. Through the legs all alone. Oh, what a save by Emmett Horton. Spencer Melski almost had his first of the game. He went in unchallenged through the legs of a Whalers defender. But the biggest save of the game so far by Emmett Horton to keep it tied at 4. Willing around the corner. 2-on-2 battle now in the corner. That's Oliver Norrie jamming at it down low. Norrie had the puck roll off his stick here on the new sheet of ice here early in the third. And Norrie takes it away, and it got away from him once more toward the goal line. Challenge in front of the net. Langille almost put it past Boutlier for the go-ahead goal, but it went wide of the net. The Whalers pouring on the pressure here now in the last couple of minutes. Couple strong offensive shifts. Pair of minors can't clear the zone. McQueen from distance. It'll be settled down by Boutlier, who makes the save with 11:30 to go in the third period. Face-off coming to the left of the Miners goalie Boutlier. Cam Warden to take the O-zone face-off. The top line for the Whalers. Steps onto the ice, and they're going to cause chaos in front of the net. Still loose. Clouette got the stick on it at the last second. The Whalers top line in on all three of those recent goals for the Whalers. 2 from Ward and 1 from Christie. And they almost got close to another one here as they look to keep turning up the temperature on the Glace Bay Miners here early in this third period.
Let's go, Miners! Let's go!
Face off to the left of the goalie, and this one in the D zone now by Glace Bay. Coming up and out of the zone with it is Mason Reed up the center ice, where Clouette will gain the zone off a stick shaft and block it away by Boutlier. Steers it to the corner where Ward tries to retain possession in the zone for Dartmouth. It's off a body in front, and Surratt walks away to a 1-4. A shot with Kaiser driving toward the net. It's going to miss to the far side. Will rim all the way back around to the Glace Bay blue line. A collision between a Glace Bay defenseman and a Whalers forechecker. But it's carried up through center this time from McPhee. Drew McPhee has to wheel to the far side. Tight angle, thought about the shot, is crunched on the play by Thatcher Simpson, and a penalty coming up. A cross check is the assignment here from the referee. There's a Whaler on the ice. So we wait to see who's going to the box here. And there's a penalty coming up against the Dartmouth Whalers on a cross-checking minor. As it's Braden Langille in the box for 2 minutes or less. And the Glace Bay Miners, already 2 goals today on the power play, have looked dangerous with the extra man on the ice. But the Whalers do well to clear it down the length of the rink here. And the Miners will have to set up again. Here goes McPhee on the far side right wing. Challenged by Thatcher Simpson. McPhee cuts in around the perimeter and all the way around the Dartmouth Whalers defensive zone. Up top for Graham. Graham changes positions. Goes down to Hutt on the far side hash marks. Up top for Reed. At the top of the umbrella through traffic. And into the glove of Emmett Horton for the save and the face-off. Will come again inside the Dartmouth Whalers zone. About 5 minutes here into the third period. Still tied at 4. No goals yet in the latter third frame. As a Whalers player shoved to the ice off the tie-up, and it'll come loose. It's considered a frozen puck here by the official. So they're going to redo the face-off here to the left of Horton. As McPhee is in to take it. Or Surratt, rather, for the power play unit. And McPhee will retrieve it on the wing and set things up here for Glace Bay. Matthew Hutt poked away there, an active stick from Thatcher Simpson. Held at the line there barely by Reed. Graham works it down to McPhee on his offhand. McPhee looked for the center pass in front as Jonas Surratt was causing havoc in front of the Whalers net, trying to play that screen position. There's a stick. Cam Ward, the penalty killer, lost his stick for Dartmouth. It's laying out by the blue line. Reed picks it up on an awkward backhander there, almost got handcuffed. Graham works away, and some time and space here for McPhee. The shot tried to beat the goaltender clean, and Ruda at the last second took a bump by Mahoney after the play. But again, Emmett Horton holding things down between the pipes for the Whalers. 9:25 to go in the period, and 46 seconds remaining on the Glace Bay power play. Glace Bay 2 goals on the power play today. Dartmouth has one of their own on the man advantage. As a tie-up off the face-off, won by Matthew Hutt eventually. Top unit still out there for the Bay. Back door, and Surratt was wide open, but couldn't get the stick on the loose puck. Surratt will walk to the high slot area. And is going to elude McPhee. Challenged by Alexander Merrick along the boards. Can Reed hold the line? Yes, he can. Work down for Matthew Hutt. And through the center, Teddy Scott, an active stick, will poke that out of the zone. Now skating in with it is Reed. Stripped by Rose and a tie-up. Some commotion in the neutral zone. Where will it go? Surratt tried to slip it through the legs of a Whalers player, but it will be sent down the ice, and that will cap off a huge penalty kill for the Whalers as Langill prepares to exit the box, but it is stripped here by a forechecker. Rose raising Heck down in the zone, causing Glace Bay to slow up their advance a little bit. Surratt walks in the zone, is rubbed off the puck by Simpson though. Rolled around the boards, intended for Graham, but Teddy Scott is waiting up there for Dartmouth. He was able to clear the zone for the Whalers. Graham, as both teams will get a change in, mostly the Miners though, in the neutral zone, as play will come to a stop. 8:11 remaining in the third period, and still tied at 4 here on High Button Sports. The face-off will come in Dartmouth territory, and they'll win it in the D zone. Shot up the wall, retrieved by Isaiah Thompson. Up the wall for Norrie. Norrie couldn't clear the zone, so Nicholas Soublier, the defenseman, will have to hustle after it. Taken away by the Miners from distance off the side of the net. Just barely getting a toe on that was Horton. It's hit up off the boards. Far, and a good stick by Norrie. He has been on a mission today for the Whalers. Centering pass, and more of a shot, I guess, looking to catch the goaltender Bootlier off guard. And Mahoney thought about winding up for it. Poked away by Norrie, who was buzzing around in the offensive zone. Taken up through center by the Miners. And there's a tie-up in center as Langill lost his stick for Dartmouth. The Whalers will complete a couple of changes. Up along the wall, takes a funny bounce off the dash on the boards, and goes up the ice. Spencer Melski cuts around the net, pursued there by Christie and another Whalers defender, and it looks like a one-and-done attempt as Norrie will play it up the center, but maybe a little too harshly, as it will be sent down the ice for an icing call as we cross over the midway point of this third period, and we're waiting for the icebreaker goal and what has been a chaotic back and forth affair here in this Easter Sunday semifinal between the Whalers and the Miners. The draw is in the Dartmouth zone. Ward and Hutt, the two captains of these teams, both with 2 goals, both going head-to-head in the face-off, and will be tied up along the wall. And there's an injury on the play. Cohen Clouette took one in the hand, and Hutt will skate toward the front of the net. It's tied up there nicely by Alexander Merrick. Merrick dumps Hutt in the corner. The Miners keep up the attack, and Merrick will walk in again against Hutt. Hutt will emerge from the puck battle with it though. Centering pass is eyeing up Surratt, and a good active stick there by Vetter McQueen. Takes off through center, dodges the check, and Ward avoids the offside, and it's dumped. And the Miners are up through the middle of the ice. Surratt cuts across through Clouette. Clouette still dealing with a hurting hand there on the same shift. He's staying out there to battle away for the Whalers here on their top line, and it is thrown up off the top of the glass and out of play with 6:16 now to play here in this too close to call semifinal hockey game in Dominion. The Miners trying to tilt the ice back here a little bit in the period. Dartmouth took over in the second period, but Glace Bay has had some looks here the last few minutes as the point shot will land in Emmett Horton's glove. So a repeat of the face-off here to the right of the goaltender. Very offensively involved today, coming off the tape of Mason Reed. Glace Bay. Surratt will lose the face-off. And Teddy Scott takes off through center. Scott will spin around and throw it on the dump in. Bootleer comes out of the net. Pressure by Tremaine, who came up out of nowhere and caught the goaltender by surprise. Teddy Scott fishes that in the direction of the net. Was looking for Tremaine. And curling away from pressure is Mason Reed. Reed goes to the left side. Bumper kept in though. The shot from Simpson from the point is paired aside by Bootleer, who's had a couple of chances to stop of his own this period. And that's tipped in his direction off the stick of his own defenseman Gold. And he'll force the whistle with 5 to go in the period. Face off in the Glace Bay zone. Langeal in to take it. On the O-zone and wins the draw. Shot up high. What a save in tight by Bootleer, and they're not done yet. A penalty in behind the play as Murchison shoots it from the point. There's a minor on the ice, and I believe this one is going against Dartmouth. Oliver Norrie is protesting it, but it's a penalty 200 feet from his net. And Glace Bay will get a huge opportunity on the power play coming up here with 5:27 to go. The draw will be to the left of Emmett Horton. 4-4 the score. Glace Bay at 1 point up 4-1. Find themselves tied at 4 as the Whalers have just not quit here in this game. And Dartmouth will have to kill another big penalty here to keep their hopes alive in this game as the Miners win the draw. Graham siphons that in for McPhee. The shot from the net front area high in the slot is up off a stick and out of play. We'll get the face off now, come to the close side of the ice. Early on in this power play for Glace Bay, Oliver Norrie gone to the box. I believe it was a slashing call. Nonetheless, it's 2 minutes. Sasha Christie taking the penalty kill face-off for the Whalers, but is going to lose it here to Surratt. And it's brought down. Here comes Hutt. The shot scores! The hat-trick for the captain on the power play! And Glace Bay takes the lead in the third! And the captain has come out to play for the Miners today. Matthew Hutt, goal number 3 in the hockey game. Couldn't have come at a bigger time for Glace Bay, who now finds themselves 5 minutes from a spot in the gold medal game here on home ice, and it's immediately taken in on top of Bootleer by the Whalers. So another power play goal for the Glace Bay Miners in this one. Now with 5:02 left in the hockey game. Ward takes the draw and wins it in the own zone to the left of the goaltender. Thompson handling it in deep for the Whalers, who take it right on top of the net. That top line for Dartmouth right back to work. They have a knack for scoring big goals, especially in the last couple of games. As attempting chip and out play is Melski. He fails. The defenseman comes to help him. It is thrown to the opposite side of the ice, and giving chase is Cooper Zylstra. The other way for Glace Bay. He has to touch up as there was a delayed offside. It's going to go around Hutt and up off the boards high by Cam Ferguson. Settled down by the Whalers. Merrick will miss his pass, so it'll go down the ice. And a face-off coming up in the Dartmouth Whalers defensive zone. Just moments ago, Matthew Hutt, goal number 3 on the game, and it'll give the Glace Bay Miners a 5-4 lead here late in the third period. Face off to the left of Emmett Horton will roll down into the corner to his left side. Centering pass attempt there from McPhee. It's going to be taken away, and Surratt tried to win that one back here as this line goes to work for the Miners, but the left away seconds is shot up out of play. 5-4 Glace Bay. You're watching the Under 15 AA Provincial Hockey Championships here on High Button Sports. 4:07 to go. The draw is inside the Glace Bay zone, and Baxter will get to it first in behind the net. Played up on the wing, intended for Colby Kaiser, but he is unable to pick that one up. So another face-off coming again inside the Miners zone. Now 3:51 to go. Crunch time is upon us here in this semifinal. A spot in the 2 o'clock gold medal game for the provincial championship on the line. What a story it's been for the Whalers getting in to this game. 2 goals in the final minute of their round-robin game yesterday, which was enough to get them into this game, and they'll try to score, and Bootlier taking away with it, chaos in front of the net, where is it? It hasn't been blown down, now it has. An unbelievable sequence of events, as inches away from finding the back of the net were the Whalers. And how did that stay out? Bootlier dove across. It's hard to see exactly what happened. There was also a pile-up of Glace Bay Miners defenders in the goal crease area. So we'll get a repeat of the draw. And it's won back by Matthew Hutt, who just registered the hat-trick here. A big 3 goals for the Miners captain, and is so far the go-ahead goal. But as we just seen, the Whalers aren't going to go away anytime soon for these next 3 minutes. 3:20 to go to be exact. Clouette pinned up along the boards as Ward will fight to keep it in for Dartmouth. A hard shot from the point for Merrick sails wide. Thompson on the second attempt will play it to the corner. Centering pass out by Christie. Going to lose it in front of the net. Thompson chips it back into the slot area. Christie fights his way over to puck possession. He's going to miss it. And Hutt will try to clear the zone. He does not. Christie on the backhand pass over to Clouette. Will cycle it down. Christie in behind the net now. Off away in front, and it bounces away a danger. Thompson fans on the centering pass shot, and the Miners, to their mercy, will get up through the mid-neutral zone. Spencer Melski tried to cut in on an individual play. It'll come back out to the red line though, and slammed into the zone by the Miners, who are hanging on to this one by the skin of their teeth with 2.5 to go here in the semifinal. Held by Mason Reed. Kaiser pinned up by Thompson at center ice. Roshan skated in. Hot potato here in the neutral zone, as neither team could quite establish possession, but now the Miners will take it in deep. A Glace Bay player went down in behind the cage and is slow to get up, but the Whalers will be crunched up in the neutral zone, and the Miners will be going to the box here as Teddy Scott enters the zone. Picked up by Glace Bay. Both referees have their arm in the air. Kai Tremaine is down and slow to get up as he got shaken up on the play off a hit from Glace Bay. So the trainers have to check out Tremaine. With 1:53 left on the clock, we hope he's all right, but we'll step aside for a moment as he gets checked out. So Kai Tremaine is going to be helped off the ice here by his teammates. And that is never a good sign to see a player go down like that after a big hit. It's been a very physical game. And I've seen a few of those hit. So we hope he's all right. There's going to be a penalty on the play. And there's going to be a Miners player sent off the ice as a result. Colby Kaiser going to the room And it's possible he just got tossed out of this game too. We'll wait to see the official call. There's already one Glace Bay player tossed from the game. Miles Majic threw a hit on Braden Langille in the second period. And there's 5 minutes showing here on the board against Glace Bay. So I believe Colby Kaiser has just been assessed a 5-minute major and a game misconduct. This will be the second one of the game charged against the Miners. Can you believe it? And there's only a minute and 53 to play. And the Whalers will get a long power play here at the end of regulation and a prime opportunity to tie this game up here in the semifinal. Wow, what a turn of events here in the final 2 minutes of this game as we get a stoppage and play. It was caught up in Cam Ward's jersey, so it's considered a frozen puck. We'll get a redo inside the Glace Bay zone to the right of Boutlier, who has shut the door on Dartmouth here in this third period. Reed chases it in. Teddy Scott throws it on the reverse down low. Maybe some room to work with here for the attacker. Played up top of the circle for Ward. Ward plays it to the corner where Rose had it. Rose still has it, going back and forth with Ward. Lets a shot go through traffic. Off a body in front, is blocked by Gold. Still loose in front. Little bit of commotion as Merrick in the blocker position in front of Boutlier's net, using that big body as a screen. Couldn't get a stick on it. Ward through traffic, and Boutlier saw it all the way through and kicked it wide, attempting to clear it. He can't. Ward holds the zone. Down low, Teddy Scott. What a block by Surratt on the rebound attempt by Rose. Knocked aside. Rose trying to work his way to the slider, and Merrick. What a save by Boutlier. Oh, ring all 10 bells on that one, and the puck is still loose on the play. Boutlier, his best save of the day, might have just saved the game. They're not done. Teddy Scott walks in, off the post with the shot, and it's up and out. 38.2 on the clock. The Whalers, 2 golden chances to tie the game at 5, and Boutlier says no. There's going to be a timeout called here by the Whalers. And what a game we have had. 2 goals in the first minute and 32 of the matchup. 1 from each team. The captain, Matthew Hutt of Glace Bay, scored 2 on the same shift at the end of the first to go up 3-1. Another added early in the second, 4-1 Glace Bay. 2 goals from Cam Moore in the second and another from Christie to tie it at 4 into the second period. And on a power play about 5 minutes ago, Matthew Hutt has restored the Glace Bay lead. And as we can see, they are hanging on for dear life here as the Dartmouth Whalers are not going to quit until the very last minute. And they almost tied it up there on 2 occasions. A robbery from Boutlier and a save again! He did it twice! Boutlier putting up a performance for the ages here in the third period for Glace Bay. Absolute highway robbery on Merrick at the back door. Not once but twice on the Whalers defenseman in close. He is putting the team on his back here in the final minute of play. Unbelievable stuff. Now the Miners have the option to clear it if they can get it down as they're killing a penalty. Worked up the wall for Thompson. The net is empty. 6-on-4 here for the Whalers. Slapped up the boards. Thompson gets it out down the ice. 15 seconds to go. Thompson has to hurry. Stretch pass attempt coming up. 12 now. Up to Ward at center. Ward will drag it around. Played there by Merrick. Hutt down the ice. And that will do it. Unbelievable stuff. Glace Bay will play for goal at home. An instant classic here in semifinal number 1 at the U15 AA Provincial Championships. A late goal from Matthew Hutt and 2 massive saves for Zach Boutlier. 2 of the biggest saves of his career, denying the Whalers on the back door in the last minute to preserve the lead for the Miners. And they win a thriller of a hockey game over a challenging Dartmouth Whalers team by a 5-4 score here in Dominion. And well played by both teams. And an extra little bit of credit to the Dartmouth Whalers, scoring twice in the last 25 seconds of the game yesterday to make it into the game. And almost winning this one too. We're doing player of the game presentations on the ice. Sasha Christie, player of the game honors for Dartmouth. Had a goal in this game to help tie it up in the second. And the captain comes through with the hat trick. The game winner as well in the third period. Matthew Hutt carries his team into the gold medal game here at home. The Glace Bay Miners 5-0 heading into the final here at home. They will await the winner of the Halifax Hawks and the Bedford Blues in semifinal number 2 here at the Dominion Arena. Here in the semifinals. What an entertaining one here. An Easter Sunday present from the Glace Bay Miners to their home fans here at the Provincial Championships. And one more to go here to win it on home ice. Thanks for tuning in here. You're watching the 2026 U15 AA Provincial Hockey Championships hosted here in Dominion, Nova Scotia. My name is Luke Diamond. We'll catch you here in the next one. And so long for now from Dominion.